and we are live down in the dirty South. So tonight I have JD and Omar, known as JD Sports Cards, original, and then Omar Retro Hoops Collectibles. They also make the tandem of the Card Hedge podcast. They usually drop theirs on Saturdays. Great watch, listen. If you haven't seen that, welcome to the show. We have Bobbles and James. We also have others in here. I also dropped some invites to a couple other people. Hopefully they'll show up. But if not, I know we'll have fun with this group. Welcome back to the channel, guys.
What's up, brother?
What's up, man? What's going
thanks
on?
Thanks for having us. And Bobbles, I was fixing my hair, so funny guy.
Yeah, he was powdering his nose.
There's not a lot left, man.
So the first thing I gotta ask, and usually I talk about this in the second half of this series that I have, I'm gonna tackle the elephant in the room real quick. JD, you're not going to the show.
The National?
Yeah. Is there another one?
I am not. So here's what happens.
Okay, you don't have to go. You don't have to get personal, but
I will, because it's you want to call me out right away. So we're gonna get there.
Well, Bobbles called you out first.
Yeah, Bobbles making fun of me for being bald. I mean, God, it's very hard.
Yeah, they're just on you today, buddy.
It's all right. But no, what happened is this: is my daughter has her dance nationals out in Cape Cod, so there goes a lot of cash. And then I have 2 soccer camps and a baseball camp to pay for. So long story short, there's only so many dollars in JD's bank account. So I had to sacrifice. So that's why I'm not going.
Well, with that family you have, I mean, I've seen this done before. If you get a very colorful bus, teach your kids instruments.
Yeah.
Tour. Make some money on the side.
It could be pretty lucrative,
yeah. Brady Bunch, Partridge Family. I have my own. I have my own AAU team. So
you do.
If I could get it to where boys and girls could play on the court at the same time. I mean, I know that's kind of a controversial topic these days.
Easy now, big fella.
But
that's for
another. Get them on the same court. Day. You know, my son needs to grow to about like 6'6" to make it worthwhile, because it is what it is. But yeah, that's it, man. Just too much stuff going on with the kids.
And I get that. I mean, me and Mike touched on that the other night on a show. That I feel bad for people with responsibilities. You're responsible. Omar decided.
So you felt bad for my bank account. Because I do too, man.
So Omar, you are still going, right?
Negative. I am.
You're not going either.
No. So,
who's going for your company?
Yeah. So much of the
River's going.
Yeah, River's going. Yeah. So much of the same for me. We have a family trip that was planned around the same time. And then I don't have much. So I started with a new company back in December. So from a seniority standpoint, that doesn't put me as flexible with my vacation time. Prior to that, I was with a company for 17 years where I could pretty much just come and go as I please.
Yeah, do it right.
Yeah. So I had mad seniority over there, and that's I'm low man on the totem pole now. So
going to lunch. I'll be back next week.
Yeah, exactly. But just from a planning standpoint, it's pretty rough. I mean, JD's got what, 2 more than I do, but same thing over here. I got 3 kids. They're all in baseball, soccer and dance, ballet. So
dance is a ripoff.
Dance is a huge ripoff. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, my friend, I'm glad I don't have any little ones, because I've heard dance is worse than travel ball.
It's the worst.
Dude, it's the worst.
Oh, I'm not getting into travel ball. We're not doing that. I already told my wife, like, nah. I'd rather just keep them here.
I got one friend, and when I was living, still at my friends in Iowa, when I was living out there, he's got a daughter that dances, and that's hardcore. And but she's only like, I think she might be 7 now. And I'm like, good grief. And then Then he's got his oldest boy. He's in travel soccer and stuff. So that's kind of a big.
No, that's a hard pass for me.
But I was in Iowa at St.
Not bad, dude.
When I transferred. I told him straight up is I had the last weekend in July off, and if y'all can't give it to me, I'm taking it, and we'll just deal with the consequences.
Yeah.
But I understand, and I usually do on this series. I started last year. This is my second year of doing to the national, and I don't want to get people confused. This is just the travel point to the national. And there's plenty we can talk about as people not going to the national and how's that, fight you. But we won't get into that till a little bit. I just wanted to jump off because I know y'all are both part owners of Car Hedge. Y'all were talking highly of connecting, networking at the show.
Yeah.
But you got River, who's the top dog, right? With
correct.
Y'all.
Yeah. Yep.
So the way I listened to JD explain to me before.
Yeah. The other thing too, Scott, is that I have the Dallas Card Show, which is a pretty large show.
Right.
That happens pretty consistently throughout the year. I think they put on about a good 3 or probably like 4 or 5 shows throughout the year.
I need to
as many shows as possible.
Dave, Midlife Card Crisis. I don't know if y'all are familiar with him, but
Yep.
He's in Dallas, and I don't know if his wife and his family knows it, but he's offered me a place to stay if I come down there. I'm not going to know, hey, Mrs. Dave, I'm staying for a weekend. But yeah, I need to get down there for that.
Yeah, it's a great show. The last one that I went to, I was there. I was there just as just showing up to go to the show, and was the first show that Arena Club was at, and the only show that Alan from Arena Club was at, which I've known him for years. So it was the first time we actually got to meet and hang out in person. So I've known him for years. We've chatted all the time and stuff. And
so is this Arena Club you're now affiliated with?
Yes. Well, that we're in business with. Yeah,
we're in business.
The one that's paid me. Yeah.
I don't want to get that started on this channel.
Yeah, we're
certainly. No, trust me. We've been down.
I read the comments.
Affiliated, I don't know if it is the right word, but
affiliated. Affiliated is definitely not the word.
They're a paying customer.
They're a customer for sure.
That's been a topic since I invited y'all on. Not arenas, but there's 2 things I like about y'all's podcast that y'all do together, and one of them is how you present Card Hedger to the masses. You do it uniquely from how I'm going to drop some other names, Card Ladder, whatever Jeff Wilson calls his. They
what are they calling it now? Market Movers is still
Market Movers X, or I don't know.
X, yeah, there you go. There's an X behind it now.
Yeah.
Okay, so they tend to, hey, we're going to buy here to sell here, blah blah blah. Y'all tend to use it as, hey, this is a tool for collectors to enlarge your collection in a way. You can put your cards on here, you can watch them. Hey, if you got 2 or 3 of this one, sell it to get you something else. And I just wanted, because I'm a collector, I beat the collector's drum. If anybody watches my channel enough, I don't want to talk out of both sides of my mouth, but I have used your tools, Card Hedger tool. And I just wanted to say thank you for y'all doing that. Coming to the collector's view. Is that something y'all think about in the forefront of y'all's minds, or is that just natural?
I'll let you take it, David.
2 things. First of all, the hat's not tight, Bobble, so cut the crap. It's actually very loose. It goes down below my eyebrows. Like it'd be like 1993. But no, you know what, Scott? You actually just did a better job than we do. I think of like talking about like no. I think the big thing for us, at least River and I early on, when when I joined on and things like that, and we were, very, very small and things like that. But the conversation's always centered around if I'm gonna hop on board with this, and I'm a nobody, like I'm just a guy, but it's really important to make it that it's a collector's tool. Like you can get pricing anywhere, But as we move forward and build out features and some of the things that we have coming out, hopefully soon, it's collector centered. The idea is to have that collector's spot or that network or whatever it is where people can go and you can check out your collection and the value of cards and this and that. But there's message boards, there's this, there's that, there's ways to compete against one another. And some of those things we've been working on for a little while, and we get sidetracked with other things. Our app really sidetracked us for much of last year because of the debacle we had with the company that, we paid a substantial amount of money to build it. What ended up happening was River ended up taking it over because it was promised to us by last national, and that never happened. And it took another 6 months of him working like around the clock, learning how to build apps and all that crap, and then creating what is available today to people, which I know I'm biased, but I think it's pretty damn good.
Right.
So yeah, no, I appreciate that. I know Omar appreciates, we all appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure.
But I honestly think for the podcast, Omar and I have, we do talk about like, hey, we need to like mention like the actual product like once in a while. And we're not very good at it.
As I've gone further along.
We're not very good at it.
Yeah, we're not very good at it. I mean, but I also a lot of those that watch my channel, I tend not to push anything, right? I mean, if it I feel like when JD and I get into a conversation, instead of like him and I actually like, oh, we need to push it more. I always like to let the conversations lead to us pulling up the
organic.
data.
Very organic.
So like if me and JD are talking about something and he goes, well, that's a $50 card. And I'm like, is it really? And okay, boom, let's go look at it. Right. And we have an avenue to do so now. Right.
Right.
And because we have that tool. So
none of that's planned out, by the way.
Yeah, none of it's planned. Listen, JD and I oftentimes, just like we had a quick little powwow before you hit the live button. Scott, we'll hey man, how's it going? Everything good? Yeah, good. All right. What are we talking about today? Hell, I don't know, man. Just hit record. Let's go. That is 9 times out of 10. Or sometimes JD will say, I'll be like, hey, what are we talking about tonight? He's like, I got a few things, man. Just hit record. All right, let's go. And that's kind of how we'll roll. So anytime that we do pull it up on the channel or anytime we do pull it up on the podcast, it's legitimate because we're legitimately having a conversation about the value of a card or whatever the case may be, or maybe even just the overall state of the market, right? Where we're saying, hey, let's look at basketball. What's basketball doing right now? Oh, hell, I don't know. Well, let's pull it up. Right. And so to me, that oftentimes just kind of showcases more real world scenarios as opposed to like, like a segment in the podcast everywhere. Let's take a look at our card hedge this week. It's like,
right.
I don't know. I've always found it to be more organic that way. People tend to respond to it a little bit better that way. And it's exhausting to try to come up with prompts and stuff like that.
It is, man. Like it is.
And JD and I are both card guys. So let's just roll. Let's just roll. Yeah. Let's just do card guy stuff. And then it'll organically pop up.
And my favorite episode had nothing to do with cards. I mean, we did a live one night and we talked for 2 hours.
I jumped on there with y'all.
About turtlenecks
and gold drills.
Yeah.
People were like, what am I watching? But I can't stop watching.
Yeah. And I mean, that's what I kind of try to do here is try to show more of we're more than just collect nerds. We do other things, we're more than what we collect. And that was great that night. I had a lot of fun. I just came in to say hi and ended up just staying. It was great.
People were messaging me like, what are you talking about?
What are you guys talking about?
I'm like, honestly, at this point, we're so far down the
rabbit
hole.
Yeah,
dude, that was great.
Yeah, so and the gold chain.
Yeah.
Me and my buddies. Yeah, I graduated in '89, so that's my wheelhouse. I remember walking down the halls with my Walkman, listening to Houdini and
Houdini, nice.
And that was one of my first tapes. Houdini, Freaks Come Out at Night.
Nice,
Friends. So I'm an old head.
That's great.
So the other thing Yeah, class of '89, Bobbles. Yeah,
89.
and I was young. I was 17. I was fresh. But so my next thing I wanted to touch on was y'all talk about grading an awful lot, which in this era of collecting we're in, it's huge. It doesn't matter if you're collecting vintage, modern, ultra modern, non-sport, basketball, football. Doesn't matter what you're collecting. Right. VHSs, video games, magazines. It's all being graded, right? That's why it's a huge topic. And where y'all come at it, I love it. You got Omar getting into the numbers on his own channel when he, once a week, and then y'all two just breaking it down like two human beings chatting on what's best for you. And that's where the arena thing came up. And I didn't understand that whole ridiculousness of it, but
comments
just
are
talking about what's best for everybody. What's that?
The comments are full of ball busting tonight. I'm laughing over here reading this.
Yeah, well, that's the way this is over here. Yeah.
Oh man.
So
1889.
Last night I was wearing my Beastie Boys on Mike O's channel.
Yeah, I don't even want to tell y'all when I graduate. I don't want to make y'all feel bad.
Yeah. Well, I gathered.
Were you in the 2000s?
2000?
Oh, okay.
Damn. I was 98.
Yeah, so you weren't that far off.
Yeah, I don't care. I wear it proudly, man.
Yeah,
yeah.
I got a head full of gray hairs. I got,
It's a classic. It's a classic time period we grew up in, man. That I think especially now with kids and I work in education, so I see all the trends and everything and whatnot, and I'm like, oh my god, I wouldn't have survived today.
Yeah.
I would not have survived, with cell phones and stuff. Remember beepers? You guys all? I think we talked about that once. But
let me tell you, I was rolling deep. I had a beeper and a cell phone at the same time.
Oh wow, you're a baller!
Wow, yeah, that's balling.
I had.
Do you have a money clip too?
I did.
Wow. Actually,
wow. I did. I got one from being a groomsman at a wedding. Yeah, that was the groomsman's gift. I had that. I had the typical little liquor thing that they gave out all the time.
Oh yeah, the flasks or whatever.
Flasks, yeah, with the dates on it. Yeah. I ended up getting drunk at a golfing event and losing my money clip. I was disappointed.
Last golfing event I was at, I got asked to leave because we crashed the golf cart off road.
I've picked up
you guys gotta go.
A golf club once. That's it.
All
right, sorry, we're getting sidetracked.
Yeah. Hey, that's okay. We're learning about ourselves here. It's great. And that's why you'll see me at these big events where I have to go sit down for a minute because I did graduate in 1980. Where's Scott? He had to go sit down for a minute.
Yeah.
So what I was getting at was, the variations. I talk about it all the time. I do have a Frankenstein collection. I have, if you probably name the flip, I have it. Now I'm gonna be lucky enough to have 3 different CSG flips in my collection.
Yeah. Same here.
I have a return that'll probably be here Monday. This is the second time that I've sent out an order, and while they're having it, they come out and change the
flip. Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And
what was the first time, Scott?
When I had the green.
Oh, the green CSG.
The original one. And then they not only did they change the flip, but they changed how they graded while they had it out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, if you knew that, why don't you just hang on to it for like an extra week? And that's where their customer service is a little
wispy.
But I love the plastic.
Man. So. I've said that from the beginning. When my brother who does the display cases,
right.
He has to get his hands on every slab so that he can take a mic to him and get all the dimensions right and everything, because that the cases that he makes are a press fit, so he has to it has to be pretty precise. Mm-hmm. And I'll never forget, he called me over and he's like, hey dude, you need to come see this CSG. And I'm like, dude, I don't care about that, man. It's like hideous. And he's like, no, dude, you need to come see this CSG. This it looks like glass, and I'm like, what? He goes, yeah, dude, you need to come see this acrylic. And sure enough, dude, I went over there and I was like, wow, I was blown away. I was like, God, man, I really wish they would fix that green label, because if they did, that'd be a stunning looking case.
So has he gotten any non-sports? Because I know he does Star Wars. You did that big deal for Star Wars. So did he do any under the CGC flag before they changed it?
He did, yeah. So, he got it under the CGC flag in the sense that he wanted to get one so that he can get all the dimensions for it, so he can make sure that everything was right. And it was the exact same thing. It was the same case, just a different label. Right. And then he's obviously going to be looking to get some of the newer ones to make sure that everything is still, everything is still intact. But I got to imagine it's all going to be the same. That's one thing that they got going for themselves, is that acrylic is phenomenal.
Yeah, I love it.
And I did the video about the merger, and not really the merger, right? I mean, they were already under one big umbrella. But what they're doing just makes a lot of sense from a numbers standpoint.
They should have did it from the beginning.
It puts them at number 2, right?
You know the numbers better.
Yeah, in terms of volume, it puts them as the second largest volume out of all the graders. They're beating everybody.
And I mean,
but that's BS. Let's be real. It is, because that's a BS. Yeah, but who gives a like? And I'm not crapping on anybody that corrects TCG.
I would even argue that TCG CGC is probably as popular or more popular than PSA when it comes to.
It's not though. If you look at the numbers,
secondary market. I know. Well, here we go. We organically getting into card.
I would have said the same thing from everything I've been told. But then when you see the numbers PSA does on Pokemon.
Oh, their numbers are insane. Yeah.
They do more Pokemon than everybody else trades together.
So, right, but what I'm saying is that still puts them at number 2.
Before, I would have to send in 25 non-sports cards to get the bulk. And 25 sports cards.
That was a big one.
Now I can put them together.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And hopefully that'll help them on both sides of the ball.
So to that point, Scott, I actually had in my last submission that I did to them, because I did send a lot, because I have a lot of Akeem Olajuwon like autos and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. That those are my cards. They're not going anywhere. I'm keeping them forever. Mm-hmm. And at $15 a card with the beautiful acrylic. And then when they changed to that black label, it was a no-brainer for me. I just wanted to get them slabbed. I didn't really care about anything else. And I don't even think I paid for the extra to get the autographs graded or authenticated or whatever it is that they do. Right. But I remember in that submission, in order to hit the 25 at the time was the requirement. I had a bunch of Marvel stuff that I have that's really nice. And so I wanted to send that. That was part of my 25, and I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
Because the Marvel, they considered it under the CGC stuff and not the CSG. And so that kind of put me off. I was like, well, crap. Because almost half of what I was doing was the Marvel stuff to make up the 25.
Well, Marvel is relatively new to them too.
Correct. Right? Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but for me, it was just bulk stuff. Like I was just trying to put together a bulk order.
Right.
But now, like you mentioned, now with this move, it doesn't matter. I mean, you could throw Pokemon, you could throw everything at it, and that makes up your 25, and then allows you to submit.
Yeah, that's a smart move.
Yeah. Me and my buddy were going to send in a bulk order of non-sport because he had a bunch of Pokemon, and of course, I have a ton of Star Wars stuff. So I was going to do Star Wars, and it came out with this, and I was like, hold on, let's wait till July when this starts, and let's see where we're at there.
Yeah.
So because they still haven't come out with a solid pricing yet. Because bulk,
they haven't. Right,
bulk is more expensive. I mean, non-sport was $3 more, I think, than sport was in bulk.
Yeah.
So
somebody just made a comment, James.
Yeah, James.
James.
James is my kind of guy
too. Yeah,
that doesn't make that he's saying that doesn't mean PSA is a better company. It just means that people are still brainwashed about PSA.
Yep.
I 100% agree with that.
Yep. I'm in the same camp.
With these two guys on their channel, this is what they talk about all the time.
And
it's weird too because, like, again, if the card industry is or the card space, whatever you want to call it, is so unique in the sense that everything else in this country is based on choices and competition, and this is like the one space where that doesn't matter.
Right.
It's it's strange to me.
What boggles my mind is like CGC, whatever banner they're under now. They're like number one in the world for currency. They're one of the top, for comic books.
Yes.
So when people were like, "Oh, they're new,"
pedigree. No, they're not new. If anything, they have a larger
grading company.
Yes.
That was ready. They were part of CSG at one point and sold that part, right?
Yeah.
Right.
I learned about that. I didn't even realize that. I heard, that's one of those things you heard, but you didn't put it in the mind vault.
Right.
And then I heard it and I was like, oh, that's right. And I'm not a fanboy of them 100%. Because I do yell their praises. But I understand on the secondary market, that's what it's all about. Is, and that's where y'all come to. PSA still viable for some stuff because you can't be stupid.
Well, yeah, but I think that everybody chases that though, right? Like that's the problem. Like, and this is an argument that JD and I have had before. It's like, oh, well, the market still pays more for a PSA, right? Okay, that's great, but we are the market. Like, like we're the ones that are paying for that, right? And the idea behind why you would pay a premium for a PSA 10 is because you believe that PSA 10 is something prestigious, right? And the fact of the matter is that they, and I'm going to trigger JD right now, they're not accurate in they're not grading accurately. I mean, they're just not, right?
Well, I think their problem is they don't have that 9.5, and it used to be a lot lenient to give at 10.
Yes.
Now it's the other way because they don't want to be that lenient.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
The other guys got 2 10s. Which I don't understand, and
Yeah. So the other day I was watching. There's this guy that I like watching on YouTube, and I'll give him a plug here. It's Sky. I think it's Sky B, or Scotty B.
Scotty B.
I love that guy's videos. He does a bunch of retail ripping and stuff like that, which it's something that I've always wanted to continue to do, is more retail ripping and stuff. But he does these big submissions to PSA. And he usually does, like, if you go back, and I did this the other day, I had some time on my hands. I did this the other day, and I was going back and I was watching 2 years back worth of his, or like a year and a half worth of his PSA submission returns. And I'm looking at all his videos, and all his videos, he does really well. 9s, 10s, 9s, 10s, 9s, 10s, right? And it's a pretty good standard, mix of 9s and 10s. It's about like a 60-40 mix is what he was hitting, right? 9s, 10s. And a lot of them, he kind of understood, right? He's like, oh, I got a 9 on this one. I know why, right? And if you start watching it progressively over the last couple of years, he just did a submission that he dropped maybe like a month ago where he did 96 cards and he got back more 8s, 7s, 6s, and he got a 4 back. That stack of 8s, 7s, and 6s was larger than his stack of 9s, and his 10s were non-existent, right? And so there's no way in hell that you can tell me that a guy like Scotty B, who used to submit by the hundreds, doesn't know what he's looking at, right?
Yeah. So me and Bobbles have a thought process that we think somebody has a fat finger at the PSA, and when they go to hit 9, they hit 6.
You want to know what my theory is?
It's a big ass finger.
My theory is that half of those cards aren't even going through a grader. They're going straight through Genamint.
Well, they kind of alluded to that after y'all brought it up, and now you're on one-on-one basis with them. You got them on. You got the bat phone over there, the PSA.
Oh, shit, I wish I did.
I kind of think. Well, we got Bobbles, got Peter locked up in the closet. We got
yeah. Bobbles is working for SGC.
Covered, so that's we're good with that. I that is something that scares me. I like SG. I'm one that will consider SGC if it's something that's falling in my sales. I will give up a little bit just to get it back.
Right.
I have cards that are a week away from being at PSA for a year. I thought we were past that.
Still?
Yes, I have.
Wow.
I did a bulk submission with somebody, and I think a lot of people know it. I bring up the name a lot. He had issues with when PSA kept changing the prices every other week, and they got confused on when his was sent out to when the pricing was. So he had to show like, hey, I sent them here at this price, and y'all are charging me the $50 a card. Well, I wouldn't have. What I sent in PSA, I'm a big set registry guy, so I'm a Gary Carter guy. Most of our cards ain't worth $5.
Yeah.
Right. So I try to find my higher ones to send in. I said it 2 weeks ago. I'm done with the registry. I'm done.
I was just about to ask you too, Scott. Like, what's the because you just mentioned the registry, and what's the allure to having the registry and then paying what $15 to grade a $5 card just to have it on the registry?
So here's my story. The second person I found on YouTube when I found YouTube community was Mike Moynihan.
Yeah.
8 years.
Love Mike.
Right. Love Mike. Mike has done me right. Love the set registry. You got $7-8 a card. I'm in,
of course.
Right. Yeah. Gary Carter. I look it up and I'm like, my God, look at all these Gary Carters. I didn't even know at that time either there was a such thing as super collectors. So I turned in immediately as a super collector because then I found out I was still collecting like it was the 80s. I'm collecting every card, buying every box, ripping every pack.
Yeah.
You know, so I got into the set registry. It was exciting. And then that's how people get addicted to. I think that's the drug, the PSA.
Now, when you collect Gary Carter,
PSA at that point.
Yeah. When you collect your Carters, or you started to collect, do you start at the first card and then move from there, or how do you do it?
At that point, I had almost all the Topps Playing Days, Fleer. What I started doing, I am a huge. I didn't grow up with a lot of money.
No, join the club.
Right. So I'm a big food. Any way I can get cards cheap. If I could con my parents into buying something that had cards on it and it was food in it, that was an easy way to get cards.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of those cards, and I started jumping into some of the stuff I've never heard of, regional cards. That stuff was where I was at. I mean, I think I'm at over 1,400 different cards for Gary Carter. I bought a super collector's collection.
Oh, really?
Right. Which I had 50% of already. So
it's a lot of doubles.
Yeah, but it's a lot of regional stuff. So now I'm looking for. My big thing for Gary Carter is on-card Playing Days.
Okay. Now, I know you played catcher, but what made you pick Gary Carter?
Good question. So, Johnny Bench fan as a little kid. My dad knew at an early I could hit a baseball before I could walk.
Okay.
Literally, and then. So Johnny Bench was the best catcher in baseball. Yep. My dad would, every time Big Red Machine was on TV all the time because they were good.
Yep.
So every time Johnny Bench was on, he plopped me in front of the TV. And that's how we start collecting cards, all of that. Well, Gary Carter, in the early 80s, there was a show called The Baseball Bunch.
Yep.
With Johnny Bench was the host. And he had a San Diego Chicken, and Tom was sort of. The funny thing, he was the wizard, but they also had Ozzie Smith come on. But they called Tom Lasorda the wizard. He had his crown and everything. But they had a player come on, and Gary Carter comes on, and my dad used to call him Pretty Boy. So I'm one of those sons where if my dad doesn't like him, there must be something good about him, right?
Yeah.
But he was playing for the Expos. Expos was really good. Winning divisions, whatever. Not only did I not understand at that early age that Montreal was in Canada and another country, that we were playing baseball, all of that I really got drawn to Gary Carter. I know that's a long-winded story, but I love telling it. So that's how. Then he got traded in '85 to the Mets. They won in '86. Lifelong Mets fan. I'm sorry, Buckner, but
Sorry, we won enough.
Yeah, I mean that's true. Piazza. Now, then I ended up being a first baseman because my knees started getting bad at an early age.
Yeah.
I love Keith Hernandez, but Gary Carter has always had. And Carter just to me did everything right. I mean, and then after baseball, all the fun, this, money and just giving, and then he ended up having cancer and just how weird things turn. That's just it. I mean, that's the reason why. And I mean, I didn't know as many as of us out there is until I started getting on eBay's another thing. Late to the game for me. Didn't know it. I was not a computer savvy guy. The '90s. I drank a lot of beer. Love the herb and partied a lot. But I still would pick up my cards at 7-Eleven. I get a Slurpee and a pack of cards.
Pack of cards. Nice.
Yeah. So. That's one thing like I can always say too is like over the years, even when I wasn't like heavily involved, if I saw a pack of cards at like Target or something, which I never really liked because I always thought like you should be buying from a hobby shop. So I have like these weird things like about me like that, but I would grab a pack or two and just, I'd get crap and I'd be like, well, whatever. I scratch the itch, but, I always the same, like I'd always grab a pack of cards.
Right. I had a hobby shop, but it died. We would have one, then it died. Have one, die. We had a new mall that started in '88. They would have shows in the '90s.
Yeah.
And then all I had was 7-Eleven, and I was kind of whatever they had. And I was known as the guy that came in and bought a pack of cards.
Yeah.
They would pull it from the register and put it out in front of me when I walked in, just, because that was something they kept behind the register. That was just for me. That's Gary Carter for me in a nutshell. So.
Cool. I do this. I have the same with KG, man. Like, and I like for baseball, it's different, right? Because I have a hard time collecting like the Red Sox. It's hard. Like I collect Pedro, I collect Big Papi, I collect Manny, I collect Roger Clemens.
So you like collecting the older guys?
Yeah.
Because
I do have Devers. Like I do have now that like so I stopped because he was his contract was up. So I was like, he's gone. But they re-signed him for 10 years, so I'm back. But like
they said they were Singarden.
Yeah. It's hard to like with the way guys move around now. Like it's hard to invest a whole bunch of money in the local guys, right? Like hockey. And I'm almost out of my hockey, depression after the Bruins friggin' choked. But hockey for me is like, I'm a Boston Bruins guy through and through, and I hope everybody else like friggin'.
Well, I like the fact that you got Omar at least watching the playoffs a little bit.
Yeah, we converted him.
What is the convert? Oh, to hockey. Yeah, Seattle Kraken, baby, all day.
Yep.
So I'm a Caps guy, and in hockey, I am very narrow. I don't know a lot about the history. I don't know a lot about a lot of players in the league. I just kind of know my Caps.
I don't know anything about nothing when it comes to hockey.
I get the package because I love to watch the games.
Yeah.
But when baseball's my jam. That's a year-round thing for me. Like a lot of sports are for brother.
Baseball, I find too, like because I was so heavily involved coaching over the years and running the leagues and things like that for school and and now my son playing again, starting to play and all that, coaching his teams. It's like baseball is to me is one of those things where it's like ingrained in me, right? Where I can watch it now. As we were talking before, I'm on strike from the Red Sox, but that hasn't stopped me from watching other games.
Well, I can tell you for me, it took me about once I realized baseball was done for me playing.
Yeah,
I probably couldn't watch a game for about 4 years.
yeah.
Whoa.
Well, I mean, I had offers. I had people looking at me. And then I coached for 4 years. I love coaching. Love it.
Yep. Coaching's great.
Yeah, and I coached on the big field. The first year that they leave the little league field and get on that big field, that's when I got them.
Yeah.
I had clay.
Yeah.
And made them into players. I had kids that couldn't hit water if they fell out of a boat.
Yep.
Make the JV team off of my teams, varsity teams, and I was so proud of those boys.
Yep.
And just that was great. I had more fulfillment from that than playing for me, but but I love the game. Right now, my Mets stink a little bit. I don't even know if they won today. I was busy, very busy today. Got to go back to work. I've been out of work for about 2 months. Got to go back tomorrow, so I was trying to get everything ready.
Yeah, I'm a big casual when it comes to baseball. I'm only a boisterous fan right now because it pisses a lot of people off that my Astros are winning.
Right.
Which is great.
That's what makes it fun. I mean,
yeah. There's a trolling element.
Don't even get me going here.
Yeah, I think I had you on right when that happened.
Right when that happened. Yeah.
Last time. Yeah. So, and that's the great thing about it. People are like, "Oh, why is the season so long?" Well, it's a stat game, so you got to have all the stats worked out. You got to have all the numbers there. You can't have a 16-game season and go and then call it it's not football.
Yep. And Bobbles is right too. His comment about hockey, like dudes aren't sissies; they fight, blood, and less commercials. Like it's the truth,
right?
Like he and thank you, Bobbles, for doing that video. By the way, man, it was good stuff. I tagged you two losers, and you haven't done it yet. So
I did it. I tagged you. Yeah.
No, you didn't.
I did mine on Friday.
I didn't get an alert, bro.
Yeah. I got called emo and everything else because I had my feelings out.
What are we talking about here? I don't even know what we're talking about.
I tagged you. I tagged some peeps to do like a why do you collect?
And then I tagged 3 people.
All right,
I even gave you kudos because this is
what is this on Instagram?
No, you clown, on YouTube.
YouTube.
What?
So this is what I like.
You can't read, so I get it.
No.
You tag me, Bobbles, and Omar, and I feel like we come from 3 different parts of this YouTube world.
Yep.
So it's going to get extended like an octopus.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm hoping. I think it's pretty cool. I was interested to hear Bobbles. I'll watch yours when we're done. I wanted to watch Bobbles. I went to it, and then I put in. This is my first show on my new internet, so I was running around today making sure it was all working right. And,
I must not get any notifications for that. I don't
know if you put in YouTube. It doesn't always, because I didn't know you tagged me until I read through it.
All right.
It's supposed to. If you put it's supposed to tell you.
Because I got Bobbles right away when he did his today.
See,
whatever. I see who my true friends are.
Yeah, I see Scott.
I'm gonna cry.
Oh, well, I mean, I'll have to figure it out.
What I'm gonna say is like you sent me that Mike Piazza card that
the linchpins. Yeah.
Yes. Geesh. You've been showing me and because like I was telling you, in the 90s, like I say, my memory in my card collection is much the same. There's a lot of holes in it from the 90s.
Yep.
So when I watch your stuff, I am very ignorant when it comes to 90 inserts and different stuff. I'm very straightforward. So it's been a fun watching that stuff.
Cool. There's so much to still like unpack and like it's endless stuff, right? I mean, there's just so much stuff. But the cards I feel were just, there was a lot of creativity and thought put into what was being designed. Yeah, there was lots of competition.
Yeah.
Go figure.
And before we get into something real quick, I want to touch on something. we're going to talk about competition. We're
Yep.
going to get less and less of it the closer the next 2 years.
Yep.
Comes, right? So I guess y'all might have seen, not have heard. I know JD and I were talking about a little bit the Fanatics thing that went out to everybody.
Yeah.
Do you think they're trying to stranglehold us, or are you just trying to think they're bringing us into the next century of they're doing retail basically instead of whatever Tops was doing?
So what was the Fanatics thing you were talking about?
So there's like they sent out a release, like press release or whatever, that in order to get their product, you basically have to sign like an agreement that you're not gonna resale or whatever, right? Or something like that.
Yeah.
I look at it like this, right? Because I thought about this. I saw some posts on Instagram, and I read through I always like to read through the comments because it's there's always just classic stuff in comments. What Fanatics does, I don't think really affects me too much, because the stuff I mainly spend my money on is, from the mid 2000s back.
Right.
Every once in a while I'll buy, some Devers, or I'll buy a Bo Bichette or something, right? But like, I'm not really. I guess the only product where I do pay attention to would be like the Bowman releases, because it's fun to get a box of Bowman and
like
not know any of these guys.
True New Englander, you're like, screw everybody else.
Yeah.
I mean,
we'll revolt at any time. All right? You never know.
Just throw them in the bay.
We'll have another tea party around here. Around to find out.
But in all honesty, like, I don't buy boxes to break. I don't do resale stuff like packs or anything like that. And certainly I can't wrap my head around dropping $300 to $500 on a box of cards that you're going to not get anywhere close to the value out of it.
Right.
I'd rather just spend $300 to $500 on a couple cards that I want and move on with my day, Well,
see, this is interesting. People are jumping automatically that they're going to get this stuff at, $145 a box, and they're going to tell you to sell it at $165.
Right.
I think they're just going to cut out. They're going to be, because they don't need a distributor. They already have built-in distribution. They're going to distribute it themselves, give it to you at the distribution price. They're going to tell you how much to sell it for.
Right.
And I think this is going to be a win for them. And the only thing you got to do is not talk bad about Fanatics. I don't. I sold Nike shoes. I couldn't say nothing bad about Nike to somebody.
Yeah. So the agreement, I haven't seen the release that they did. Is that to their LCSs that like the LCS that are like, hey, you buy it, you're not going to flip it for 10x.
Right, and you're not going to be able to sell it to another store. You can't do breaks online.
So what a novel concept, right? What a novel concept of manufactured suggested retail price, right?
Right.
Like that is something that Panini seems to not understand. I've always thought it was insane that Panini does these Dutch auctions. It's like,
those things are so dumb.
But that's greed though, JD.
Just a little.
Yeah, but that's all greed. It's all greed, right? It's all. We have a hot product. It's the same reason why I went to go look at a Ford Raptor, and the dealer had a $30,000 dealer markup, right? That they called a market adjustment. It's like, no. The fact of the matter is that you have a product that people want, and you're gonna greedily jack up the price. You're price gouging. That's what you're doing, right? And so Fanatics is basically saying, hey, we want to continue to sell you product, right? We want to give you product so that you can sell and continue this hobby, right? In a sustainable manner, because that one thing that they understand is that model is not sustainable. It works for a cash grab, which is what Panini's probably trying to do right now because they're on their way out. It works for a cash grab, but it does not work for sustaining a community of people to, proliferate a hobby. It's not going to work, right? And so they understand that, and they're making sure that you don't mess that up.
Topps did it with this. I don't know if you've seen it.
Yeah, I did.
After the draft, they have a 300 card autograph set, and they did a Dutch auction of each card, right?
Yeah.
So according to Victor, they probably broke some laws if somebody wants to push it. And then they put rookie, the RC logo on it as well. So
cash grab.
And all this is no different too. I don't care if it says Tops on it, but it's no different than Leaf product with this.
But doesn't Tops? I thought with that dude Wembayana there, he already signed an exclusive deal with them.
It doesn't matter. He can sign autographs without an NBA logo or
right. That's what I'm saying.
Right, but they can't use the rookie. They shouldn't be able to use the rookie.
No,
I didn't know he signed.
No, they can't put.
I didn't think he signed for Tops. I didn't.
I thought he signed an exclusive with Fanatics.
He did because his autograph is in the Bowman Bowman U. Yeah,
right.
But it's a redemption.
But to call it rookie cards and not
you can't call that a rookie card. No.
Right. The only card is no different than Leaf products.
Right? Yeah, right. Exactly. They're not.
Plus, they're in suits. Like, what are we doing here?
Well, but they're not part of the PA, right? Like the PA determines that, right? Like that's So the first card that Wembanyama, the first rookie card that Wembanyama ever has, is going to be his Hoops rookie card. Like none of the Prism draft, none of the Contenders draft, none of the Chronicles draft, like that's all dog crap, right? Like none of that matters, right? What matters is that first Spurs logo jersey, which is going to be NBA Hoops, which is why it's my favorite product of all time, NBA Hoops. And then shortly there followed by Donruss, and then there's going to be some other stuff that comes out after that. But
we're already seeing a little bit of this bobbles on retail because the last 3 times I've gone into my Walmart, one of my close Walmarts near me, not only do they have marked down blaster boxes, but they're refilling the marked down blaster box section.
Yeah.
So, and I picked up today a box of blaster that's usually $35. I picked it up for $17. So,
nice.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that yet. I actually went yesterday and picked up some Prism, like some 2022, 2023 Prism, because they had a mega box sitting there. And I bought a mega box and a blaster box, and it was like $75. I was like, geez,
football has just sat there. And
how do you guys have product on your shelves?
Oh, dude, I'm overran my product.
Target or whatever I go into, and I don't go like driving around looking for cards, but if we're out doing whatever, I'll go over to where the cards are, and they have like that random like pro mix pack thing of sports. They'll have some hockey, and that the shelves are bare.
Oh no, not over here, dude.
All time.
I have one Walmart. I'm in between 3 different ones: a grocery store one and 2 super ones. So I have one. You go and all of it's empty. It's just TCG, and then I go to the other one. It's from one end of their registers all the way down to the other end, and 2 shelves with 2 of those boxes of markdown stuff. And they refilled Series 2 blasters, but they don't have any other. I picked up a couple of the Heritage value, not a little bit bigger than blasters, because they have the chrome packs in it.
Okay.
So
we don't have any of that.
I only open 1 pack a day, so I have a nice little. I have a nice wax retail wall building in my bedroom, my secondary bedroom. So, right now I'm opening up these bad boys. Your brother will probably like this, Omar.
Star Wars Chrome,
have been
Galaxy Chrome,
beautiful cards.
I'm trying to JD. Every time my brothers go to Walmart or Target or something, I have a group chat with my brothers that we're on all day. I'm gonna forward you the last one that he sent me, which was from like a couple days ago on our chat, so you can see, dude, we're overrun with product. Everything is stacked. I mean, it's packed.
I think some
Walmart, Targets, everything.
Just decided, Walmart's and Targets decided if they had issues, they're not going to carry it. Fanatics is just going to have to come in there and strike a deal. Because, some of those, not everything was the consumer's fault. Some of it was the people putting this stuff on the shelf.
Oh God, yeah. There's some shady crap going on.
Right. And I think Fanatics is gonna. That's some things I think Fanatics is fixing. My last question, and I know we've been all over the place tonight.
Yeah, that's all right.
That's usually what happens with us, Scott.
Right. I love it. I mean, it happens with me every time. But so neither one of y'all, I hate to hear it, but I understand it. I think everybody understands it. Are not going to the national. So is there anything that you're going to be? Are you looking for people that are posting stuff about the national? Are you going to hear from friends how things are going at the national? I mean, what are you sitting at home being connected? Because JD, I know you got a lot of people going. Omar, I'm sure you got a lot of people are going.
Yeah.
What is it that the feedback, and how are you going to get that feedback and try to digest it because the national is a good barometer about where we're at as a hobby.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So how do y'all this was going to be y'all's first one anyway, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So how do y'all get your fill of the national?
So
I'm sorry, you might go to the Dallas one, but this year,
yeah, but it's not.
If you
I'm
saw
fully
the
aware of that.
plan, I said this before. The national this year told the rest of them, hold my beer. Here's how we're going to do it, boys.
Yeah.
So how do y'all going to do it?
So I think for me, right, like I kind of have an idea. You and I talk to some of the same people and whatnot, and like JJ, yeah, I'll tell you a good welfare story in a second. It's comical, like shit that pisses me off.
That's great, man.
So
he's one of the funniest guys I know.
Like JJ sent me a picture yesterday. He was at a show, and he's like, "Hey," he's like, "Do you have this KG?" And I was like, "No, I don't." And he's like, "Thoughts?" And I was like, "The price is whack, dude. Like, it's $500 for just a patch card." And I was like, "Dude, that's like a $50, $60 card tops." Yeah. And he's like, "That's what I was thinking, man." He's like, "I just wanted to,
get
hear
a
it."
second opinion.
And I was like, he's like, "I don't know if there's any negotiating with this guy," but I was like, "Dude, $500."
Yeah.
The card shows ballpark. The card shows near me. Like I go to one that's in my state, Rhode Island, as often as I can. It's a smaller show, but it's been around forever, and it's usually there's always a couple guys that are down to wheel and deal. After that, like if you go up to the Boston area, there's all these like high production like things being done at Fenway and Card Vault and things like that. Now they put on some really nice shows there, but then there's like the Framingham show, which is huge. I've never been to just because it's like 2 hours for me to drive there. And I'm always tied up on the weekends. So it's just the way it works. Like there's never anything when I'm free. I'm sure I'll talk to you guys and hear about it. I know last year the prices were high. I'm guessing that there's still going to be some of that. I'd be curious to see if more people are willing to play ball this year, with everything that's going on and just our own, country with the economy. But real quick before Omar answers, I'm at the store the other day and this lady is buying way too much crap at like, the local like thrift store thing. I'm in there to pick up like a thing of deodorant. So she pays for all this crap with an EBT card, which whatever. I don't judge. I don't care. Whatever you got to do. But we walk out at the same time.
Hops out, gets into an Escalade.
Hey, homegirl hopped into like a $70,000 Mercedes Benz, and I was like,
"That's how."
My head went.
That's how. Anyway. She didn't have to pay for groceries, so she has a.
Damn it, man! I was like, "What in the hell?" So anyway,
Oh, that's right. I forgot. Eric is in. We got another guy from your area.
Eric, I'm in Rhode Island. I'm like an hour and a half south of you. I live right near good old Fall River.
He works in a shop, pretty big one.
Yeah, I've watched him on Bobbles a couple times.
Okay. Where
Omar,
are you
what
getting
about
your
you,
ammo?
man? You gonna answer the
Yeah.
question, or you gonna sit there awkwardly?
No. Yeah, sorry. I want to make sure y'all were
answer
through.
the question, dude.
So the big thing that I'm going to try to keep an eye on is all the big grading companies. I've last year I did this where I was constantly looking at their Twitter feeds and seeing kind of what announcements they were going to drop and stuff like that. You know, JD and I have been talking a lot about SGC in terms of like, pricing and things like that. Like, hey man, these guys need to drop their prices. We're watching their numbers consistently go down. And I like to keep an eye on it from that standpoint. Because we live in the data of the market pretty regularly. JD and I kind of already know like where numbers should be, kind of where cards should be at, what prices should be, and stuff like that. And anything we don't know, we can look up pretty quickly. So whenever I go to like the Dallas Card Show, for example, we have some of that same conversation, right? It's like, man, this guy's asking $600 for a $200 card. Like, what are we doing here? Like this is there's a clear disconnect, right? But I would imagine that anybody that's going to the National is going to take some time to, if there's any show that you want to make sure that you're on comps, right? I would imagine it's going to be the National, where people can just say, hey, I just looked up the comps for the National, so I want to make sure my pricing is where it needs to be. And so I'm not too much worried about that aspect of it. More than anything, obviously the big news this year was Fanatics. The big news this year was, SGC kind of, making headway this year in terms of, becoming, one of the top 3 grading companies. The other thing is, this big debacle that Beckett just had at the last, what was it, the Mint Collective, where they did the release of the new flip, but then they're like, oh no, we're not going to do it. Oh wait, never mind. We heard what you guys said. So
Pause.
it's like, it's like all this stuff that goes on. I'm really interested in kind of the big company side of things. What's PSA going to do? What's SGC going to do? What's Beckett going to do? Well, more importantly, what's Fanatics going to do? Right. I mean, that was the big thing this year, is like Fanatics is taking over, whether people like it or not. And I'm curious to see what they're going to do imprint wise.
You either adapt or move on. For me, in the years past, it seems like CSG did their big announcement this week. It just seems like a lot of companies do their announcements leading up to the show, and then provide it at the show. The show is usually just, it looks like it's going to be more people out there hawking their wares this year.
Dog and pony shows and
it's much more corporate.
It doesn't take away from the dealers. What's that?
There's a much more corporate, it sounds like, too.
It's always been a lot of corporate, but I think they're almost doubling the size of the corporate space this year.
The one thing I will say, someone mentioned he's not wrong. Right?
He's definitely not wrong.
Talk about a shot at Beckett at every chance he can get.
Talk about a Netflix special of what not to do in life, and it is
for real.
Oh my god! Right. But one thing someone mentioned this before, like way back. I believe that there's definitely some room right now in the the SGC CSG with this announcement. And I don't really consider anybody else, but like there's room for, I think, whoever comes out with like a $10 price, or even like a little less,
like a single digit price.
It's over, because I'll be the first one, and I think people start throwing their money there, because I agree with everything you guys said about CSG. As far as presenting your card, man, it's there's nothing that touches it. It's just it's a shame that there hasn't been really any, and they have everything that like people complain about, right?
Yeah,
they have
exactly.
Registry, they have this, they have that,
and then they're tough graders, but then they get mad because they don't give out tickets.
Yeah, right.
Hey, we know we got a fickle hobby. It's just it's the state. It's nothing better than to watch somebody get a reveal, and then they're gonna sit there and tell me how the professional's wrong and they're right. I love it. Keep doing it. I love those videos.
The guys that do it for a living, right?
Yeah, I do it too. I'm like, how does this? Now they did mess up a Freddie Freeman of mine, and they did get a bump. But you know,
to that point, Scott, that's one of my biggest pet peeves, right? Is that these grading companies, they tell you what the criteria is, right?
Yeah.
And so if you go to their website and you look at their criteria, they literally have a criteria for every grade, every number, 1 through 10, right? And if you look at that criteria and you feel that your card is usually, within, a grade or two, right? Like, I'll go back to my example of Scotty B, right?
Yeah.
Is I'm sure he's sending in cards that he knows are going to be either 9 or 10s, right? 9 or 10s,
right?
Based on the criteria, 9 or 10s. But when you get back 6s and 4s on 2021 and 2022,
that sounds like that was somebody who was their first day they took the training wheels.
What are we doing here, right? It's like, what are we doing here? It's
somebody took the training wheels off, got that badge. So
that can't happen. That can't happen.
No, it can't. But you know what? You know what drives me crazy, JD, is that, and again, I love Scotty B. I love his channel. I watch every time. But at the end of it, he made a comment that really pissed me off. He goes, "Man, I'm gonna have to resubmit these. Why in God's name?" Like, I just
they messed up my Freddie Freeman, I sent it to another company when I cracked.
I just don't get it. I don't understand.
Cracked and resent.
I don't understand it. It really like, you wouldn't do that at a restaurant, right? Like, if you ordered a pizza and
they have a bad meal at a place, you don't go back there.
You don't go back and order the exact same thing. Like, you don't go back at all. It's a wrap.
I had the best poops ever after that one.
Yeah,
insane. I don't know. I don't get it. And that's to your point. It's a brainwash, right? It's a marketing ploy. It's the reason why we eat eggs for breakfast, right? Somebody in the 1940s decided to run a marketing campaign that says eggs are for breakfast.
And then Rocky drank them raw, and then it was on after that. Everybody
announced that you have a grade reveal without putting the name on, and I guarantee you, the majority would think PSA, instantaneous.
Yeah, agreed.
So I mean, that's just how we are as a hobby. We're at a little over an hour. I want to thank you guys for coming on. A little short notice. I appreciate it. I know both y'all are family men.
Yeah.
And again, Card Hedger, I can't stress it enough for you guys.
Appreciate that.
Great podcast. Don't go there to think you're going to learn how to flip cards. Go there.
God no.
Yeah. But you're going to go there and learn. Hey, there's more to this hobby and collecting and how to collect. There's no right way to collect.
No, there isn't.
And these guys will show you the wrong way. But anyway,
we do have a money back guarantee on the podcast. If you didn't enjoy it, we'll give you your money back. For sure.
That's right. And also, I do want to talk to JD. Cleared the mechanism on Sundays, I think.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I didn't release anything today because I was at a graduation party, but it'll come out tomorrow morning.
Okay, so that's one of my two favorite podcasts I look forward to. So
that's strictly baseball.
Yeah, and I'm a baseball guy. So until next time, like, share, tell a friend, and subscribe if you haven't. I picked up probably 10, 11 in the last couple of weeks. Let's
nice.
Keep it up, boys.
Nice.
Got a nice little slow burn going. So until next time.
That's how it works, man.
See ya.